Mike Lancaster. If anyone is one of the most busiest of opening acts in the UK, he's warmed them all up. And I don't need to tell you who, as in the next edition of Eyes and Teeth, he will let you in on his success and how he copes with the different audiences and venues, and stars, which is his territory. He knows them inside out. We have a few things in common, as we both headlined a summer season at the Royal Hippodrome Theatre in Eastbourne and supported some wonderful, talented people. I've got great memories of working on the road with Sir Ken Dodd, the Stylistics, the Osmonds and Kenny G. They've taken me from the Swansea Grand to the Blackpool Grand, the Royal Albert Hall in London to the Moon River Theatre in Branson, Missouri, the Falls Casino in Niagara Falls, Canada. I'm so proud of these shows, as they challenged me as a performer in the best way, and I learned so much. But there are a couple of little nuggets that Mike talks about today that would have just given me that little bit more of an edge during these shows. I've found them since, but it's always good to know. So let's take you on a journey from the dressing room, where you will find a comedian about to enter the stage from the wings, and his name is Mike Lancaster. The unsung hero of British comedy, that's as he's known. It's all with Shirley Bassey, Humperdinck, Julio, Everly Brothers. He ain't heavy, he's Mike Lancaster. Hello, Mike. You see what I done with the words there? All them names.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine. So how are you filling your time, dear boy?
Well, apart from doing this, which is fun, I'm writing a book on ventriloquism, and I've been going on about it for 15 years, so I'm finishing the book in lockdown. Yeah, and that will be going out hopefully next year. It's all about ventriloquists. So if you've got any stories about working with vents, that would be nice.
I worked the first with Arthur Worsley. So we went to Australia, he and I, in 1978 with the Black and White Minstrel.
Wow.
And what it was, the Black and White Minstrel owned by a guy called Robert Luff, and he owned everything, right? Okay. And then, so what they did, they paid him a royalty. All the costumes, all the arranged musical was sent over from his office. It was in Scarborough, I think. He owned a big hotel in Scarborough, and I think his warehouse was in Scarborough. And when you saw the Black and White Minstrels at the Victoria Palace in London, there were always 3 acts on it with the minstrels to break it up, you know?
Yes.
So the poster for Sydney, Australia, it said direct from London's Victoria Palace. And Arthur Worsley was the vent that never spoke. Ultimately, and he said to Charlie, "This is what I would like you to do." And Charlie's, ooh, there's a little chatterbox then. we did 8 weeks in Sydney in St George's Lees Club, which was a 1,200-seater showroom.
Okay.
We followed Debbie Reynolds in.
Wow.
Robert Gourlay followed us in. And then we did 8 weeks on tour around Australia. And there were 36 minstrels, 18 boys, 18 girls, a 10-piece orchestra, me and Arthur, an Egyptian magician called the Gully Gully Man. And we toured it around Australia. Arthur and I went everywhere on aeroplanes. Aeroplanes like your car, small aeroplanes.
Yeah, incredible.
There's one place, Surfers Paradise, Tweed Heads, where the state line runs down a street. And on one side you can gamble, the other side you can't. And all these big venues, I'd never seen an indoor turf bowling green before, but they all had them, you know?
Yeah.
Amazing place. And there was a floor of one-armed bandits, 1,200 to 1,400 one-armed bandits. And that subsidised everything else that went on in the building.
Yeah, it sounds like Vegas then. It's kind of a mini Vegas.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
We toured over, and this place, wherever it was, yeah, where I think it's Surfers. It's a long time ago. Surfers Paradise or Tweed Heads.
Yeah.
They used to come in on buses from one side to the state where they could gamble to gamble.
Wow.
It was amazing. But Arthur was amazing because we stayed in the same hotel, so we'd see each other in the day, then go and have a shower. We were chauffeured into work.
Yes.
And we'd share a dressing room like a bloody cupboard it was. And there's some of the stories, most of them not repeatable.
Yeah, I've heard that.
We became very good friends, and he had posters where Morecambe and Wise was supporting him.
Yes, Arthur Worsley was a big name, wasn't he?
He was, and also, I mean, there was he showed me one poster where the Beatles were on it, because I think he used to put the shows on himself, you know, and he always topped the bill. But as I say, the Beatles were supporting him on one time. Morecambe and Wise were like third on the bill.
Wow. That's incredible. I know Arthur went over to the Ed Sullivan show, didn't he? And Ed Sullivan loved Arthur.
He did one with Elvis.
Yes.
When Elvis was on, and Arthur sat and watched it, and Elvis was told, move from the waist up.
Oh, yeah,
I've read that since, because it was considered very suggestive, and it would have been in the late 50s, early 60s.
In the 50s, yeah. I know television wasn't ready for Elvis yet, was he? Not the bottom half, anyway.
Show, and he said it was unbelievable to watch, and all these young ladies in the audience, this is at rehearsal list, because everybody in the building said come in and watch him, you know. He said, well, I can't say what his exact words were, but squirming in their seats.
Really? Wow.
And he worked in Vegas, and I mean, over here, I think, I don't, other than Archie Andrews, I don't think Vince topped bills, but in America, Arthur was a big deal.
Yes, yeah, they loved him over there. I know. I think Peter Brough made it really big on the radio, so he became a top of the bill because of the radio show Educating Archie. So he did go and actually do loads of tours. But I mean, I think Arthur Worsley was one too.
Could he do it live? He couldn't, could he?
Oh no, there was no lighting.
No, I mean, if he went to see him in a theatre, he couldn't do it, could he?
I think after the 10 years of radio, Peter Brough lost his technique, so it wasn't as effective.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It wasn't as effective, not on the radio. You know, he brought Archie to life, but I think people, you know, accepted it after a while because they realised that Archie wasn't real. You know, Arthur Worsley brought Charlie Brown to life as well, didn't he? Like Ray Allen with Lord Charles, they just brought the characters to life.
I did some concerts with Ray Allen as well.
Did you? He's a master.
Yeah, and he opened the case, and there's Lord Charles's head in a plastic bag.
Wow, it's like a scene from Dexter.
It really looked really odd, you know?
Yeah.
And Ray Allen, as an older man, never looked any different.
He didn't, did he? No, he was immaculate.
No, he didn't. You see some guys you've not seen for 20 years, they look like old men.
Yeah.
He never looked any different.
No.
And we were talking about that, and I said, well, you know, he said, I aged the doll. If you look at pictures of the doll, like 20 years back, it had dark hair and so on, and all that. And then over time, it went grey, and then he even put lines under his eyes. Did
he really? I know that Lord Charles used to be kind of blonde, didn't he? He had fair hair, and then he had grey hair in later years.
You know, like a distinguished lord, as it were. He looked like that.
Yeah.
And then Bossy used to do a thing where he used to put a glove on his hand.
Beautiful routine.
Draw lips on his and he used to come out and do a 5 minutes chat, and he put this thing with his hand, and it was incredible.
Yeah, I saw Ray live a couple of times. He was a genius.
But then again, watching technically an extremely good vent.
He was nice to watch, wasn't he? He was a masterclass, Ray Allen was.
He was, and he was one of the first we were exposed to in terms of television. You know,
yeah.
It was Arthur and him.
Ray Allen wrote a lot of actually comedy for television. Did you write a lot of jokes, Mike? Did you do writing?
Yes and no. I work on situations. I mean, if you recall, I was always taught, know what you're going to say first and what you're going to say last.
Yes, that's good.
And then the middle bit take care of itself,
and fill it in.
And then I worked with a guy called Jack Tripp.
Okay, yeah. Great in pantomime, wasn't he, Jack?
I've got a bit of story about that, but he said to me, I've never done a theatre before in the summer season when it was all production.
Yes.
For Bunny Barron, would you believe, who was over your way.
Okay.
And he'd never seen anybody that young and that fresh in one of them shows, you know?
Yeah.
It was a sparrow's nest in Lowestoft. And it was called Take a Trip, Tripp is Jack's name.
Okay.
And I was in it, I think I just won New Faces or something like that, you know? So, and I was a guest star on the bill, and I took the place apart, you know?
Fab.
And Jack didn't like that very much. There you are. But he said to me, he watched it, and it wasn't being no animosity. He said, there's gaps in it. So what do you mean? I didn't know what he meant. I'd only been a pro 4 years then. He said, well, what you got to do, when you put your act together, he said, there's got to be posts. By posts, I mean, if something's lapsing, you know, when you get to the post, it'll lift it back up.
Yeah, that's clever.
Well, exactly. And this is an old-fashioned variety comic.
Yes, yeah.
He said, you know, if you do it 9 minutes, he said, after say 30, 40 seconds, it starts to dip a bit, or a minute, 40 seconds. You know, when you get to 2 minutes, you're going to take it back up again. I did work with Tarbuck a couple of times.
Yeah.
I relayed that to him.
Okay.
And he said the same thing. He said, yeah, it's because when he made it, he was Dickie Henderson, Bygraves.
Yeah, the Palladium years, wasn't it? I mean, the greats
They
were on
were
the
all
stage.
his elders, and he as a young man,
Yeah.
they let him in because the star system, the way it worked in those days, they were all middle-aged men.
Playing
They
golf.
let Tarbuck in
Yeah.
at 23, 24.
Wow.
When Tarbuck became a fat middle-aged man, they let Jim Davidson in.
So it's like a conveyor belt of comedy.
Yeah, but I did a royal show for Delphont at the Lakeside, Camberley.
Okay, yeah. Bob
And
Potter.
yeah, that's right. Princess Anne was there.
Okay.
And he said to me, "You're not a comic till you're 40." I said, "Mr. Delphont, every week I play 600,000 people in nightclubs 7 nights a week,
Yeah.
Here I am, 25, 20, and I'm doing this." He said, "No," he said, when you're 40, we'll have another chat, And then I heard Tarbuck say the same thing later on.
Yeah.
Must have been said to him as well.
Do you think it's because you got to live through the experience to have the material that people can believe,
Well, when I was interested in that, I did a thing at Royal Lytham St Anne's Golf Club.
Yes.
Of course. I think the Nasty Open's been there,
Okay.
I did that one night, and they were all older men, like my dad, if you will, or like even grandpas,
Yes.
And this old guy with grey started having a go at me. Well, I think if you recall, nobody dare try, And I buried this guy.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he came to me and he just said, "I really enjoyed that, so I think it's very kind of you, sir." He said, "But let me just tell you something." He said, "I've got a grandson, a little bit younger than you, and if he spoke to me like that, I'd smack his face."
Oh.
And it went, I thought, that's interesting.
Still heckling you and you're off the stage.
Well, yeah, but it's interesting the fact that if you're doing material, that guy, young comics who do mother-in-law stuff, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can
Material
upset
to a
somebody.
point.
Yeah.
You've got to suit the way you look. I watched your, this morning, the Britain's Got Talent thing. Brilliant.
Oh, yes, thank you.
It really was. No, and your technique and your delivery. The older I get, the more I think about timing,
Yes.
breathing, taking. Because telling a gag's like singing a song, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you've got to phrase it and time it,
Yeah, you got to aim for the post.
And I watched that, and then you got the two dolls out. Oh, that was brilliant. That really funny, very effective. I'm just surprised you didn't get anything else from that.
Yeah, me too. Well, do you know what? When you've got 3 minutes on live television on a Saturday night, you've got to aim for those posts, like you say. You've got to get the gag out and move on to the next one. And there was one point where Alicia Dixon actually answered one of my jokes, and I wasn't expecting her to, so I spoke over her reply. But I didn't know until I watched it back the next day that I'd actually spoke.
You've done that,
Yeah, but because when you got 3 minutes, if somebody throws you on a moment like that, you can't blow it, and it's.
If one of them interacted with you, would that cut into your 3 minutes?
Do you know what? In hindsight, no, not looking at it back now, because when I brought out the Sunita doll, 2 minutes of that was laughter of my act, and because it was live television, there was no way of taking it out. There was no edit, so it was the laughter on that spot. And I didn't really do that much with those characters. I just brought them out. It was the puppet makers that done more than I did.
I think just bringing them out. I'm not saying it was enough, but it was 90% of what happened.
Yeah, definitely. It's visual comedy, It's the fact that Sunita was sat in front of the character made it funnier, But thanks for mentioning it. It was a great night. Both of those shows that I did were great. But you don't get much from it these days, Mike, because there's nowhere to go.
When I won New Face in 74, 75.
Yes. Wow.
Let me remember this now. Remember Marty Kane?
I do. Yes. Yeah. Was she on your show? She wasn't hosting then, was she?
No, not that. She was on the same. I was on 1 week.
Okay.
The week after, Lenny Henry was on as a 16-year-old.
Yes.
And the week after, she was on. Right. So I won. I got 3 tens off a man called Clifford Davis, who was the Craig Revel Hallward of the day, as it were.
Wow.
Gave
Okay.
me 3 tens. And Tony Hatch, Mickey Most was record produced. They were on it, and somebody else who I can't remember. But the day after, talk about having nowhere else to go, they gave me Celebrity Squares. They gave me The Golden Shot.
Yes. Wow.
Because ATV did those programmes, so there was a progression.
There was somewhere to go. Yeah.
I've commented on this, the fact that young people... Well, first off, I think that when you are that young, your material's limited to a point.
Sure.
and your ability. Because then Richard Stone came on to my manager, and Richard Stone handled Dave Allen, Benny Hill, Hugh Lloyd, Terry Scott, Peggy Mount,
Yeah, big comedy names.
So Dave Allen wouldn't work Sundays in the days of Seven Night Cabaret.
Right.
So they used to have me. They wanted Dave Allen, they had to take me. So in 1975, by then, it's like 500 quid. Oh, you know, it took me 2 weeks to earn that in those days, you know.
Yeah, nice.
So I'd do these Sundays in Caesar's Palace or the Double Dime, you know, big nightclubs.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
You know, I played small nightclubs and I played, you know, all the stuff you do when you first start out.
Yeah, yeah.
So quite quickly, like the cart came before the horse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. You have to have the
Booked
experience.
in these places for all this money. Large amounts of money, you know, for the time, and I just couldn't do it, you know.
Yeah.
Back to Marty Kane. So the winners show, she won it, and we knew each other by then. She said, "I've got to tell you, Michael, it's that silly question, silly thing to say. If I was a man, you'd have blown me out the door." And then they had viewers winners shows, but the viewers thought I was funnier.
Yes.
So I was brought back to do that.
Okay.
And then in 1976. This show came up with Jack Tripp in Lowestoft. So for 10 weeks I was doing that. I had to do sketches and dance routines. In other words, learn the business.
Yeah, straight into production show. Now, my first production show was in 2000 at the Royal Hippodrome Theatre, which I know you've played in 2007.
Yeah. 34 weeks, man. Right?
Yeah.
That was.
Nice long one.
All the learning curve, you know. And I think a lot of today. A mate of mine is still a friend, a club comic from Manchester. He said to me, "What are you doing that for?" I think it was £85 a week ago. But then I did a couple of puntings and I got more than that for them.
You got £5 more than I did.
And I said, well, it'll stand me in good stead for this other stuff. And then that summer, Delphonse came on and said, you know, I started doing concerts for them. So it opened that door, but now it doesn't seem you get some young person, and that, like Simon Cowell has created disposable pop.
Yes.
These young kids who win the X Factor, there's a girl on the year before, 16-year-old girl from Essex, and she was unbelievable. She was. I can't remember, a pretty blonde thing. She sang with that to one of the panel. She sang with her.
Okay.
Rita Ora.
Yes.
They did a song together.
Wow.
It was incredible, you know?
Yes.
But nothing.
Great. Yeah, you won't see them again once they've been on the show. You think, wow, they're going to be big, and where do they go? You don't know where these winners go, you know?
There's got to be a market. I don't know. You say that. I mean, you presume he's not stupid, Simon Cowell, but it's like a case of next. But you know Bernie Flint?
Yes, I love Bernie. Brilliant.
Well, he's a good, dear friend of mine.
Okay.
To this day. We did 3 years on tour with Duncan Norvell, you know.
Okay.
300 concerts.
Wow.
In the first year, we did 50 a.m. and 50 p.m., so to speak, you know.
Yeah.
And me and Bernie were the guest stars on. We had a great time. We used to travel together. 1 week my car, 1 week his car. That's what we used to do and stay together, you know. But Bernie won Up Knocks 13 times.
Yes, he did, yeah.
13 weeks he did.
Or 3 months, is it?
He wrote the hit record himself. And Bernie and his brother Roy wrote it. I don't want to put a hold on you.
It's, you know, it's such a beautiful song.
When the old variety days people talk about, I just missed that. But I did. The first theatre I ever played was the Wimbledon Theatre the week after I'd won New Faces. It was a Joe Mr. Piano Henderson sing-along show.
Yes, wow.
Piano player. And we followed Marlene Dietrich into this Wimbledon Theatre. And it was amazing. Anyway, so we get...
It's a great theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, old-fashioned variety weeks like they used to be, you know, because I rang Arthur. He said, that's good, he said, because that's the variety circuit, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it all folded up, as you know. So the first day, I'd never worked on a theatre stage in my life up till then. And,
nice one to start on.
You know, but I learned a lot quick. You know, the guy, look up, do you want to see the top of your head? There's a balcony up there. Things like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I did it, and great, it went really well, but not a lot of people came, you know. And then the press came in on the Tuesday night, and this man was from Manchester, the journalist.
Okay.
So I used to close the first half. So the second half, he came and sat in the dressing room with me, never watched the second half.
Okay.
And he had a really good old chat, and the crit in the paper said, "The star is born in a tired show," and nobody spoke to me all week.
It's sad when people take it out on you because of your reviews. You know, we don't write them ourselves, but it's nice when we get them. But then you feel guilty, don't you, in a way that.
Yeah, to a point, it's embarrassing. I'd never experienced anything like that before. You know? How's the weather in Eastbourne?
It's really sunny here. I know you've done a season down in Eastbourne. It's beautiful, sunny, and you get on with it.
Eastbourne, I played 34 weeks at the Hippodrome Theatre.
Yeah, I done 3 seasons at that theatre. I met my wife here 20 years ago this month. Yeah, it's a good season, isn't it? Nice long season. Was that for Matt Pro?
I was asked to do it, you know, like a lot of things. Oh, that's a good idea. It was 8 weeks of Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes.
18 weeks of Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday.
Wow.
And 8 weeks of Tuesday, Wednesday at the end. Now,
yes.
I live near Manchester.
It's not, but yeah, logistics.
So it was 500 miles. Anyway, nonetheless, the work was great. I mean, it's amazing theatre, that. I mean, there's a guy there called John Playdell.
John's great. I love John. He's a good friend. He lives around the corner here, and I bumped into him a few months ago, you know, and it's. Yeah, he really sold the seats to that show, you know. He was the key.
Apparently, he had all the coach drivers. He had them in his pocket, you know. Obviously, it must have cost money, of course. But, I mean, he used to meet coaches off the motorway, apparently.
He did.
Get on the coach, and, you know, the driver, I think the driver got something out of it as well, you know. And he was notorious, but he was so effective. I mean, it gave you a false sense of security, because you thought you were filling it, because I topped the bill there. You were filling the theatre.
Yeah. You thought it was you, and it was John Playdell out on the beach. Yeah, it was
unbelievable, and it was every night. You played to anywhere between 80% and full.
We always had. I'd done that 8 months there, whatever the season was in 2000, and John Playdell filled that theatre. You know, I mean, the reputation of the theatre was good, so people would always come back year after year. But John Playdell was the man who put bums on seats. He worked hard around this town, just getting the coaches in, and that's what we needed. We needed people to laugh, didn't we? And they were great seasons.
Great. I loved it because they were, you know, I don't swear and I do a clean act. You see, comedy today, where the F word is like the word and.
You wouldn't have seen that.
If you said anything slightly off, you know, out of line, you never got through the door. Now it seems if you don't do that, you don't get through the door. It's the other way around now, you know.
It is, yeah. I mean, Bernard Manning will be turning in his grave. You know, it's.
Well, I mean, I knew Bernard very well. He used to stand in for him at his club, you know.
Yeah, he was
because he was
the embassy, was it?
Yeah, well, it's still there. I drove past it the other day. Where it is, there's an area that's all been redeveloped.
Okay.
Know? There's a big college there. There's a shopping precinct. There's a this and there's that. But Bernard's club still stands there.
Is it that? I thought it was wiped out.
Like a monument, you know. Oh. And I think his son, Bernard Jr., inherited it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done anything with it, really. But it stands there still. Picture of Bernard above. It was amazing. Nobody took any money on his mum and his sister. Because his sister worked on the door and his mum worked on the till. And when his mum passed away, I think one of his nieces did it, you know?
Yeah.
But despite all that, he was a nice man. And he said to me, I like you because you're not frightened of anybody.
No.
Oh, that's right. One night we did something. There's a boy in the front with a plaster cast on his leg. And I said, what have you done that? He said, playing Sunday football. I said, oh, are you off work? He said, yeah. So afterwards, he said to this boy, look, we're going to do a show for you. The lad gave Bernard his details. About 4 weeks later, Bernard rang me. Are you free on Sunday afternoon, Mike? I said, yeah, right. We did a show for this kid. And he raised $2,000, and Bernard gave that to the boy.
Wow.
And that's the sort of stuff. And he did that a lot, large amounts of time.
And people didn't know that, did they?
That never got in the press, did it?
No, of course it doesn't. It's too nice. It's too nice. I saw Bernard down in Babbacombe Theatre actually for Colin Matthews. You know, he was who we worked for at Matt Pro, and and we were doing the season down there. And it was 2002, and I had a night off. Bernard was there on the Sunday. I went to see him, and he was brilliant. The place was packed, lager louts all sat at the front. They heckled him.
Yeah, that's it.
But when I saw him, it was shortly before he passed away. But he didn't swear that night, believe it or not.
That's good because he
just
was
done great gags.
Like Roy Brown, Chubby Brown.
Yes.
Because I knew him quite well as well. If you strip all the language away, it's quite funny stuff.
Yeah, I remember that night. I remember he didn't swear, and I remember he was just funny. He just told jokes. People loved him, and these lager louts, they were heckling him, and he just shut them up. But he didn't swear that night. That's all I remember.
That's
but
nice to hear that.
He was a great comic. Great comic. You've done panto, Mike. I've done about 11 pantos, you know, in my past, yeah, which isn't many for someone. I'm 45 now, so I could have fit a lot more in.
Are you familiar with the Simmons brothers?
I love the Simmons, yeah, Keith and Alan.
There's father and son now.
Yeah, Keith and Ben.
Keith just did his 50th.
He did, didn't he? I sent him a card last season, actually, because it was his 50th.
Up for
His anniversary.
Theatre in St Anne's, that's right.
Yeah.
And he came and did it there, yeah.
Oh, he's great.
I've done 5 or 6 pantomimes, but I'd never played Dame before.
Would you like to? Something you like to do?
In a frock, let me tell you. So, the other Grumbleweed, James Brandon.
James, yeah.
James, him and his girlfriend and her father. Well, this dad's, they have a small theatre.
Okay.
I think I've mentioned it to you, actually, the Academy in Barnsley.
Okay.
140 seats, and it's like playing your lounge. It's a fabulous place to play. And I do it twice a year on my own, and then I do it with the Grumbleweeds whenever it's October time. And it's great. It's beautifully run. There's a stage school at one side of this or that, and a very community-based place. So, so Robin Grumbleweed said to me, "Well, go and do it at James's place." He said, "If you make a mess of it, nobody will know," sort of thing. So it was a 5-week run with 2 weeks rehearsal there. Even the bigger ones don't do that, do they?
No, wow.
Right. So no, it was bus fare, believe me. So I just think I could do it. And James Brandon's a very good director.
Okay.
So what I did, when we decided I'd do it, every week I used to go over and we'd have a cup of tea and we'd run it, me and him. So by the time it came to rehearsal, I had a vague idea what they needed,
Okay.
So rehearsal started. So now I had to drive every morning over the M62 to Barnsley to be there for 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay? Now that means leaving between 6:30 and 7. I'd be there at 8:30, and then there'd be nobody. They all live around there, and I'm there all this way. So you go in this building, and it was freezing cold.
It's not a great start, is it?
You sat with your coat on. I'm sure you've been there rehearsing.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. You couldn't take your coat off, your scarf on. You ate your lunch in the cold. It was all. And with 2 weeks rehearsal, and by the Wednesday of the second week, I just felt so ill. I ached. I'm not soft, believe me,
No, it's not a nice feeling.
My closest friend is our GP. I rang him up and said, "Stephen, look," he said, "Michael, if you do that, you'll be very ill. You'll get a dose of flu and it will not do you any good. I recommend that you say, 'I'm sorry, I can't do it.'"
Okay.
So I said, "I'm telling you, that's what I am."
Yeah.
Because from what you're telling me now, you're just starting out with it's not a cold, or you're starting out with a dose of flu.
Okay.
So I rang James up and he said, "Well, don't worry. And they got somebody else, the guy did it last year, Yeah. But this small 140-seater theatre does a 5-week run.
Couldn't they just turn the heating on?
Well, that's the damn good question. That's the damn good question.
That's one thing they never done at the Hippodrome.
You're in your room and you can see your breath.
Yes.
It was like that,
That's no good for a ventriloquist, is it? When the dummy's talking, they know it's me doing it because they can see how cold it is. It's coming out my mouth, the air.
Well, there you are. That's a good thing.
Big giveaway.
But nonetheless, I thought, no, so I came out of it. And then another pantomime chap put some on the guy called Paul Holman. Nice man.
Yeah, Paul's great. Brilliant panto director.
Well, in 1976, when I did the Sparrow's Nest, the Jack Tripp show, he was the manager of the theatre.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I get a phone call one day, Paul Holman. I said, "Oh, hello, Paul." And in that song, the overture, the song was, "Oh, what a wonderful feeling, just being here with you. The days are sunny, the nights are bright, everything's going to be all right. Oh, what a wonderful feeling, just being here with you." Before he told me he sang that down the phone.
Now, did he?
So who the hell's this, And it was him.
That's his intro music.
He's a lovely man. We've spoke about 5 or 6 times since, things pop into you. I'm blessed with a good memory, I don't forget anything.
Yeah.
If he did it or said it, I'll remember it,
Nice.
And we chat about, last week there was something off it, a picture of the Sparrow's Nest Theatre. Well, a lovely place. It had 1,066, Battle of Hastings.
Wow.
That many seats, And he showed a picture of it, and so I rang him up. And when we ring each other up, "Oh, what a wonderful feeling." But
nice bit of banter.
He puts pantomimes on, I believe.
He does great pantos, yeah, really nice. I had to turn one down once. I think I was offered this was after Britain's Got Talent. I was offered about 7 pantos in one season. And I should be doing the Westcliff Clacton this Christmas because they're doing a week of Christmas shows.
Great, it's nice theatre, that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Mike, you're a heavyweight support act for the Stars. What has been your standout tour where you had the audience from the word go, and probably every night or every tour, but was it a particular act that you were supporting that you really remember where every night was just...
The first one I ever did, long before the bigger ones came along, I did Freddie Starr for...
Okay, yeah. What was Freddie like? Because I've heard stories about Freddie.
Well,
You can't repeat a
they're
lot of it.
probably all true as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I did on and off 34 years with Fred. What we'd do 2-3 years together, then a couple of years off and back again. And again, we'd do 300 concerts in a year.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
In 1979, I did a floral hall in Scarborough, summer season with him. It was 16-piece orchestra, 3 backing singers, 10 dancers, me, Patsy Ann Scott, who became Mrs. Eddie Large.
Wow.
Okay, he's just passed, yeah.
Yeah.
We shared a birthday here and there you are.
Lovely,
what else
Eddie.
was it? Paul Ridgway, instrumentalist, and me, you know. And it was the secure on the block to get in, 6:10 and 20 to 9, 2 houses.
Wow, what a show.
It was unbelievable. The business was incredible. And in those days, he was 10 stone. We were all 10 stone 4 in those days. But he was so fit that his mobility,
Yes.
his body language was a lot of what he did.
Yeah, he was so funny,
Very
yeah.
Chaplin-esque, very silent, like I say, it could have been a silent movie star.
Yeah, he was slapstick, was great, wasn't it? He used to,
Consequently, every night his performance was off the scale.
he used to fall off the stage. He used to jump off the stage, but acting.
He'd be a 6 foot high stage. Why the hell's he always? No, he could jump off. He could do anything, But then one night he came in and he said, "I'm bad stutter. I'm going on first tonight." I said, "Okay, Fred, why?" Well, his wife was pregnant. He lived in Maidenhead. We're in Scarborough, by the way.
Right.
And my wife was in the same state. So he said, I'm going to go home tonight, he said, and just in case she goes into labour. And she wasn't due yet. I said, okay.
2 months in, was it?
He's travelling helicopters a lot. He would pay for him.
Probably rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah, so the piece on Park where the theatre was, I said, well, look, Fred, get a chopper in the back of there, you'll be home in an hour. I want to see how long it takes. So we drove home to Maidenhead, had a cup of tea, and drove back. But the upshot was, I had to go on in the second. I had to close the show. He went on first.
Yes.
Think about that. So he pulled every stop out, rocked the place.
Yeah.
Interval walked out and kind of left. So I just, they did a voiceover for the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Mr. Starr's left the building. I said, so now you're going to see the first half second. I said, remember that? Anyway, we're all paralysed.
He's built them up so well. But was you nervous about doing that?
Sort of people,
Yeah.
to laugh. It was great.
Was you nervous about going out there after that, or?
Not particularly. What it taught me, it taught me one thing, and it's called arrogance, just ability. I'd follow anybody. I don't really care.
Brilliant.
So to progress it on, which we'll get to in a bit, I did a TV show with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
Okay. Wow.
And they went on before me, and I said, well, what's going on? What's this about? In their contract, it said no comedy before them.
Does it really?
And it's in the book, and I've put, well, that taught me one thing. I can follow anybody.
Is that the name of your book? I can follow anybody.
It's called I Just Do It and Leave, because believe me,
Oh,
I walk
yes,
off the
yes.
stage, get in the car and go.
Brilliant. Are you finishing your book now, Mike? Was it out?
Well, what happens is, and you'll find this, you'll write something, and then 6 months later you'll hear something else that contradicts what you wrote.
Yeah, you got to change it.
Yeah, and I did recently, about 2-3 years ago, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Jerry Marsden, okay. Years ago, I did about 9 months with him.
Okay.
And in those days, he was, for want of a better word, was up his own backside,
Right.
So 30 years on, I get a phone call from a promoter, Robert Pratt, who was Jerry's manager.
Okay.
And Robert and I have been friends for years, Scottish guy.
Yeah.
And Jerry had a heart bypass.
Yes.
And they had to redo it, so he had 2 heart bypasses.
Okay.
And then he got double pneumonia, which weakened his chest, which happens, which means he couldn't sing for 2 hours anymore, okay?
Yeah.
So Robert said, right, I want you to come in. Me and the Pacemakers did the first half, and he did the second half.
Okay. Right.
So, but now, all these years on, you couldn't meet a nicer man.
Changed him.
Mellow, let's have a drink, let's got something to eat, enjoy the show, and it was a joy to do, 'cause
Yeah.
all them years ago, it was here we go again sort of thing, He had a dresser and all that nonsense, and the star, all that rubbish,
Yeah.
But now, well, he's just retired now. I did his last ever concert.
It's sad, isn't it?
His health as well. I mean, we did on that last particular tour. The Pacemakers are great guys. I mean, we're still friends to this day. Lovely, lovely people, great players, and good singers and good fun. Everyone used to get to a concert. It was my job to go and find the pub for dinner. My job while we did the sound check, see. But he would arrive at say 6:30, 7 o'clock. And they tried not to let him drink before we did it, okay? So So it going. Anyway, he used to fall over. It wasn't that. Not he used to drink after the show, so it wasn't that. It was to do with his balance. There was something wrong with his balance. That's to do with your ears, inner ear stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, it happened a couple of times. But the stage was set in such a way, if he fell, he could be caught.
There was mattresses everywhere.
He
You mean?
on anything,
And it was safe.
Sounds ridiculous, but that's what happened. So this particular night, we're doing a run of 4 days at Newport in South Wales.
Yeah.
Then the night after, Weston-super-Mare. It's only an hour away, over the bridge into Bristol, up you go. So the plan was, we'd do Newport, I'd go off to the hotel to keep the bar open for when the boys got there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
So
we do.
anyway,
Yeah.
So do that, drive, and I get to this lovely hotel in the countryside near Weston-super-Mare, lovely part of the world. And I had a drink. There'll be 4 or 5 of us in a bit, we're residents and that. Anyway, they never arrived, so I just went to bed. So the morning after, I get a phone call. He'd fallen backwards into the drum kit.
No. Oh wow.
Now, simple can take your head off, can't it? And it was unbelievable. So I'm stuck in this place. They've all gone home.
Was it at the end of a song? So it was perfect timing with the cymbals.
I don't know, because when he walked on, you could see he wasn't.
No.
I mean, he said that.
He's a bit dizzy.
All these it's had 3 big anaesthetics as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I think can cause. So I'm stuck in Weston-super-Mare on my own. They've all gone home, and that happened quite a few times now. But it wasn't his fault. It just
it's sad when the health fails.
The doctor said to him,
yeah.
Look, you can't keep doing this, Fred. He's got a few quid. He's got a nice home in Spain, and so just go and enjoy it, relax. So basically, that's what he did. But the reason for saying it, the first time he was a pain in the bum.
Yeah.
30 years on, you couldn't be with anybody nicer.
Ah. Okay.
So I thought,
nice.
well, let's just. And then when the Grumbleweeds, when there used to be 5 of them, right?
Yeah.
I always thought Robin was oppressed in terms of his talent,
Okay.
And then they became a 3-piece and they got a band. Well, I did the first concert with them as a 3-piece. We were friends many years by this time. The Guildhall in Preston, which is a 2,500 seater place. I was doing pantomime in the Charter, which is next door.
Okay.
In that same building, like a 500-seater pantomime. And so I go in and do this. It was a shambles. Morris sang 6 songs, it was unbelievable, because they don't act, just the 3 of them. It was very different, obviously, because all the Grumbleweeds ever did was one man on, one man off. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and they would change. They would come back on.
They'd go off and do a change and come back on. It was like that.
Yeah, very funny.
All 5 of them. Morris was the straight man. He stayed on stage, but he sort of directed it all. Very good too.
Yeah.
But every couple of minutes, one of them would disappear and come back in a costume. So when it became the 3 of them, it didn't quite work like that.
Yeah.
So you saw more of Robin's talent,
Sure.
And so when I wrote the first bit years ago, and I used to say to myself, that there's something, they could be a lot better if Robin did a bit more. So then when I did concerts with Graham and Robin, they became a 2-piece then.
Okay.
And to start with, there were just 2 people on the stage. Could have been you and I,
Yeah.
But they slowly learned to be a double act.
Yeah. Did they never ask you to be part of the Grumbleweeds at any point?
No,
because
they just didn't. I mean, I'd have been flattered. But it's years ago, I got asked to join a comedy show band. And I thought, no, because I earn as much as they do, and it's only divided by 1.
Yeah,
There's 4 of them.
And you're owned by the interval, so you don't want to stay on till the end.
Yeah, exactly. Get in the car, I'm on the M6 while they're still clapping.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You've done so many arenas now, and you've worked to 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the first to do the arenas, definitely in Manchester. What is it like getting that feedback from...
Well, when you get there, it's one of the Bassey tours, which I did 4 of them.
Yes.
Never met the woman, by the way.
I often wondered that, about whether you actually get to meet the people you're supporting.
The first bigger one was with Cilla Black, okay?
Yes.
And it was in the King's Theatre in Glasgow, the opening day. So I get there. And up to then, it was in the New Faces here at that time. Up to then, I'd done not a lot. So this was the first big thing I ever, in 1974-5. Me and a band called Sparrow.
Right.
One superb band. Brian Hudson went on to marry Linda Nolan. He was a drummer in the band. We go there, and it's the first day. And when you, as you well know, when you go to a theatre, the stage manager backstage is God. If he says jump, it's how high, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there, and this theatre had been refurbished, and on the stage there was bricks and mortar and rubbish and stuff. This is at 1 o'clock. Now the first show is at 6:10. Anyway, they see to all that, and she arrived. Nobody saw her. She arrived with her husband, Bobby Willis.
Yeah.
Okay. So he did right sound check time. The Scottish Radio Orchestra, about 30 of the big orchestra on stage, just playing the part, you know, the parts.
Wow,
and he came
that's a great sound.
into the stage area, backstage, and he went to the board, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all, for the people listening to this, that's where all the knobs are and, you know, lighting and stuff.
Yes, okay.
And he physically moved this man. Well, you don't do that to anybody, at least of all in Glasgow.
No.
Because you rip your head off.
Wow.
So straight away, this guy fronted him up. But language and stuff, you know.
Mm.
So that was a good start.
Wow.
So then I'm going back to the dressing room, and she's coming out of her room. She says, "What?" I said, "Oh, good afternoon, Miss Black." I said, "I'm guest on your bill." Put my hand out to it, and she ignored me.
Wow.
She completely just walked around me, you know. I have a very, you know, good afternoon, Miss Black.
Yeah, that's sad.
I'm Mike. And just walked. I thought, well, that taught me a lesson that from very early on, you know, wait to be asked.
Yeah.
Oh, controversial.
Don't go. And just another story attached to that. When I was asked to do that, my mother, you know, Sissy and Ada, Les Dawson.
Right.
You know, the characters.
Yes.
Like that.
Oh,
very
bless her.
old,
Yeah.
Hands under a bust and all that kind of thing, you know. and when it came in, she said, "Oh, that'll be nice for you, love." She loved that.
Yeah.
Kind of black.
I'm picturing Les Dawson now. You're saying that as your mum
You know,
as Les Dawson.
Sissy and Ada.
Yes.
That, my mother, not the big lady, but it was all the gestures. No.
Yeah, I'm picturing the arm under the breast.
That's it. Oh, you bitch. She's obviously very ordinary, you know, not affected by any of this and all that.
Yeah.
And I got there, and when I went home and told my mother, she said, "Well, I never liked her."
Change of opinion. Yeah.
Really, really funny, that. It really was. But
That is
then
fair.
after that...
You have a funny mum.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, very, very dry. I did Petula Clark's tour.
Okay.
Now, that couldn't have been different. She was, I think then she was 48, 49.
Yeah.
Right? She was one of the sexiest women I'd ever met.
She was beautiful, wasn't she?
You know, jeans and T-shirt, no makeup, hair, you know.
Yeah.
And she came and introduced herself to me. Oh, wow, she was unbelievable. And she, what a charismatic woman. She just, you know, some people walk in a room.
Yes.
If you didn't know, who's that?
That's nice. Isn't
You know, she was, and she was charming. She did, and the band she had, Kenny Clayton was the musical director, but they got Parkinson's house band, Harry Stonham's band.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right. So when I do tour, I have to go and watch the rehearsal of the band call, just to see what they do, you know. Then I never watch them again. I'm not interested. As the book says, I just do it and leave, you know.
Yeah.
So I went to watch it, and she was amazing. She really was very casual, and she could and did sing anything. She was
That's
unbelievable.
Nice. She was such a
then we
great
got to
voice.
the Montfort Hall in Leicester. They opened the dressing room door, and she's ironing a frock. I said, "Oh, sorry." She said, "Oh, come in." It was 2 dressing rooms and one bathroom, so we shared it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat for an hour and a half with just talking about kids and so on and so forth. And at that time,
Complete different.
my first wife was heavily pregnant with our son.
Right.
And she said, "Oh, by the way, tomorrow's cancelled. Bridlington." I said, "Why?" I've learned never to ask that question either. She said, "No business." I said, "Oh." And I thought I didn't quite know what to say to that. You know, she stood there in front of you.
Okay.
And she said, it's interesting that, Mike. She said, you know, I work all over the world, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and I sell out. In this country, where I'm from, never does well.
Wow.
And she said that herself.
That's
But
crazy.
as the years have gone on, my wife took me to see her on my 60th birthday.
Oh.
And she was, it was incredible. Again, like an 80-year-old lady, you know.
Yeah.
Still the voice, the pitches, because they get a load of these people, they change the key a bit.
Yeah.
The phrasing's a bit just to watch.
Yeah.
So the different.
The opening act couldn't have been as good as it used to be.
Well,
Because you were watching.
Better, dear, better. But I mean, she was incredible.
Yes.
In every aspect of her being, you know, a beautiful woman.
Yeah,
and
lovely.
Nice to be around. And
You get to learn respect, don't you? And you get to respect the act, and especially if they acknowledge you backstage, which is lovely.
Yeah,
But
and you look
to
forward,
join in,
I look forward to going.
yeah, of course
You know,
you do.
some nights you think, oh, because I mean, people think, oh, it must be great. Well, yeah, after a while, but you know, you're on concert 54, it gets a bit boring. You know, I've never been so impressed to this day by the old and her husband, Claude Wolfe, Frenchman.
Yeah,
He said to me, you need a plan, Mr. Lancaster? And I said, well, normally when you do those shows, you don't get anything. Because all you're there to do, and you must remember this yourself, is to provide an interval.
I know. Yeah, it's all about revenue, isn't it? And so they need that interval.
Because
So
one of the Engelbert tours, just to jump forward a bit, I did 4 with him. He said to Robert, the promoter, I want to do the whole show. He said, fine, okay. He said, you've got to do 2 1 hours. I said, oh, no, not that, just 2. I said, well, okay. He said, I read the list to him. The Opera House, no interval, they want 15,000 quid. The Palladium, we're going there. They want 17,500 if there's no interval, and you will have to pay it.
yeah,
Because 3,000 people ain't going to the bar.
no, that's the rule, isn't it?
So he said, that's mine to do it.
That's
So,
nice.
and then with Bassi.
We've got alcohol to thank for that, haven't we?
Sorry?
We've got alcohol to thank for our jobs, really, because you do
To a
need
point,
intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I did Engelbert, you know, he said to me, so what do you want? 20 minutes. 20 minutes, serious? 20 minutes? He said, well, when these people were at Vegas, that's all the opening act does.
Yeah, if it justifies an interval, they can do 20 minutes, and then you can't do 10 minutes and then have an interval, but 20 minutes is just enough.
Robin Grumbleweed came to the Opera House in Blackpool,
Yes.
funnily enough, with his girlfriend then.
Okay.
And he said, 20 minutes. You said, 20, oh, yeah, 20 minutes, that's all they want. So, because his audience were easy, all middle-aged ladies, it was a fab piece of cake, you know.
Yeah.
Rocked the places. And he came in and he said, I don't believe this. He said, it's 25, we're in the bar. So, well, that's all you're there to do. He said, I never thought of that. That's all you're there to do, provide an interval, you know. And then the arenas, I mean, the guy called Phil Bowdry used to run all that.
Right.
You know Live Nation, who exists now?
Oh, yes. Yeah, huge.
He's now the head of Live Nation Europe.
Okay.
And when I first met him, he was the tour manager on Bassi's tour.
Right.
You know? And it's all economics, really, all economics, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's unbelievable with her. The last tour I did was all arenas. The Royal Albert Hall, the NEC, Newcastle Arena, Manchester Arena. So you're playing to 10, 12, 15, 18, 19,000 people every night.
Nice.
We did Wembley Arena as well. We did it in the round.
Okay.
In the LSO, that's 71 musicians in the middle, in the round, you know.
Amazing.
So and then there's TV screens up like the size of your lounge wall.
Yeah.
You know, when you go and see it's like that, they can see up your nose.
Lovely.
And the sound is, I mean, somebody said to me, does it slap back? It doesn't slap back, no. You can hear yourself think. The sound is so good.
Yeah.
The level of engineers, when she toured, her sound engineer was a guy called Robert Jones.
Right.
And he used to work for Dire Straits.
Okay.
And apparently, if she wanted to tour, unless he was available, she wouldn't tour. Okay?
Okay.
And so he used to call it white gloves because he didn't set anything up.
Yes.
He used to come in a suit and tie. And the guy, the technical man, knew what the desk should look like when Robert arrived. And then so that's all Robert did. He didn't set it, he just sat at the desk. But when we did Wembley Arena, he was there. So what are you doing here? You know, sort of thing. Is this in the round is slightly different? So I sat with him and we were talking away and he said, hang on, something's not right here. So we stood up, so what do you mean? He said, there's a dead spot over there. So I just followed him. He said, can't you hear that? I said, no. He said, stand there. Like 6 seats away. Now come and stand here. And only I couldn't hear it. He could hear it.
Well, that's magical, isn't it? It's got a
what
magical
you're paying for. I
ear.
remember I went to see a Barry Gibb concert. Barry Gibb came and did the arena in Manchester. And he introduced his sound engineer. He said, this man has been in my ears for 40 years. That's how he introduced the sound engineer.
Wow, it's important. Very important to the concert.
So this guy, I said, wow, that's amazing. So consequently, when you went on, there was nothing left to chance where sound was concerned.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was easy. And when I say Manchester Arena, I was the first comic to play the place.
Yeah, I mean, you've got
June 96.
to actually do spoken word in a venue like that. Is it difficult to wait for the
because,
laughs to
as I
come
say,
back, or?
I mean, from the back, you look like a peanut on a drum from the back of the place,
Yeah.
But there's 40-foot screens either side of you.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
That helps, and the sound is crystal.
Okay.
There's nowhere in those rooms you can't be heard,
Brilliant.
And it's some. But when I did the Manchester one, I used to introduce myself because a lot of those tours they get nothing, just walk out.
Yeah, I had to do that on the Stylistics tour. I introduced myself on the Stylistics, and it was quite nice actually mentioning welcome to the 50th anniversary of the Stylistics World Tour. Please welcome Steve Hewlett. I went out, done my bit. I really wish that I spoke to you before I started these tours, because there are things you need to learn. It's not easy to go out there and support these big acts as a comedy act, going out supporting the Osmonds, Kenny G. I would have done some things differently,
I'm not saying you're subject to requirements,
No.
fact that it's just the fact that really they're not interested. Some of these guys who work the sound, whatever these big rock and roll crews, I mean, I know a lot of them now. A lot of them are friends of mine,
Yeah.
Or if I don't know, I know we will have somebody that we both know,
Sure.
So I can do a bit of name dropping. It's all fine. Oh, so and so said you. Da, da, da. I said all I need is some white light and a decent microphone. I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
So I said, when I'm on, you can go and have a rest. Well, see what I'm at, go and have a drink. As long as you're back for 1:30, it's fine.
Just turn me on. Yeah.
As long as it's working, you can go away. So I'm your best mate, really.
Yeah.
And introducing yourself, I mean, at least you're going to get attention and it's being introduced properly.
Yeah, and you're going to get a really good introduction, really pick you up.
I just say, what I want, good evening, you're welcome to Shirley Bassey. Before you meet Miss Bassey, what we'd love you to do is meet a very special guest star. Now, what we want you to do is make as much noise as you can. Cheer, stamp your feet, or I'm not coming on. And have you go, and you come on to an ovation.
That's nice, yeah.
And you see that, you should do, that gets you in.
Yeah, definitely. It builds up a nice sense of humour with the audience and gets them in a good mood.
Good evening. Freddie Starr taught me that. Scream, just straight away attention. Because in a theatre, there's no gradual. The lights go black and you're on.
Yeah, straight away. But actually make an impact.
I'm introducing somebody else. I will say, come on, let's have some enthusiasm. You make that person feel welcome. Clap and cheer and stamp. Here he is, and on you go. Yeah. And just to create some, and it gets you in.
Just build it up. Yeah, I mean, you need there's a secret of great comedy opening act, really. Do you have any rituals that you actually use? Or is there certain things that you do? Or is it just that build up at the beginning? Or is there something...
I mean, I'm one of those people, call it arrogance, my build matter...
Confidence, not arrogance, confidence.
My build matter
yes.
Is, as well as a very funny man, the unsung hero of British comedy.
Yes.
And I'm the best opening act in show business.
Yeah.
I will tell you, then I will show you.
That's nice. Yeah.
I will tell you, then I will show you. Yeah. I will show you. I'm the best up. That's level 3,000, 10,000. Then I will show you.
Yeah, it gets good attention. That's nice.
Well, if you're not that confident, you shouldn't be there in the first place, should you?
Yeah, if you can't show them, then you.
The fact you've been asked to do it speaks volumes.
Yeah. Yeah,
and if you're not confident in what you've got in your pocket, sort of thing, that's what gets you by.
Ice and Teeth.
Today's comedy, I mean, I don't know how you view it, given you've also had a lot of experience of comedy from, Morecambe and Wise, Cannonball, Les Dawson, Max Boyce, that sort of people.
I'm still watching the greats. I'm still watching Billy Connolly, and Stephen Wright from America, Robin Williams.
I like his stuff,
Yeah, from the 80s, probably 80s. It's great comedy back then.
It's interesting because, I knew Les Dawson was a good friend of mine, at Cannonball, and I did Max Boyce for 4 years, quite recently. It's amazing. Great
Welsh comic, isn't he? He's a legend.
He sells out everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's the M4 corridor he works in. If you get on the M4 near Newport, start of Wales, when you come over that bridge.
Yes.
into Wales. You start there and to the other end of it.
Okay.
That's his manner.
Is it really?
And he very rarely goes anywhere else. He just does. But every avenue has got a theatre. All them valley towns in Wales, when the mines were there and the steelwork, they all had a 500-600 seater theatre. Now all the industry's gone, but those theatres remain. Okay, so you go there, you play the Grand at Swansea, which is about 1,000 seats. You play the concert hall, St David's Hall in Cardiff, which is about 1,800 seats. He sells them out. Then you go to Porthcawl, you go to all the valley towns, just names you've heard. And he sells out everywhere.
He's loved, isn't he, in Wales? Yeah.
Yeah, and he never changes. His band have been with him for 30 years.
So does he not travel around the UK? Is he just in Wales?
No, he doesn't do that anymore. He had some heart surgery about 4 years ago.
Okay.
I think he needs to. He can afford not to, I think, as well.
Sure.
And he goes out sometimes twice a year.
Yeah.
But it's usually anywhere between 10 and 15 days. The only trouble is, they're not together, so you'll do like Monday and Thursday or Wednesday and Saturday.
Right, yeah.
So and I want to stay in Wales for 4 days, so it's a 500-mile drive.
Yeah, you got to go home.
So you could do it and go home, but nonetheless, the people that surround him, his band, the crew, the family, it's a cliche, but and when you go in, I've never met the guy before. I know his manager.
Yeah.
A guy called Stuart Littlewood.
Okay.
Who again is a lovely man. The first day, he said, "Mate, I heard a lot about you." He said, "Thank you." He said, "Oh, good, lovely." And his audience, magical. Can't tell you. You think, you look behind you, they're still laughing at me, sort of thing. And he is a generation, I've just written a little list here, I did Norvell and Davro.
Yes.
Davro for 5 years, Norvell. Now, Davro is one of the most talented men in this business, in every aspect of his ability.
Yeah.
He sings in
brilliant.
press and so on, his gags.
Yeah.
I did his series as well and it was unbelievable to watch that. The way you spend 5 days rehearsing and then you spend 2 days filming it.
Yeah. Bobby's TV show is brilliant. Yeah, there's so many people on it, but he's very talented, Bobby. Still today, he's very funny.
You get back to the hotel at 6 o'clock, you've been rehearsing all day. Yeah. And he's got 6 pages to learn for tomorrow. To get back at 6 o'clock, come down to dinner at 9, and he knew the 6 pages. You could do, his discipline was amazing, And we did summer shows. There again, we did 4 or 5 years, spring tour, summer season, autumn tour.
Yeah.
Again, 300 dates, we did that for 4 or 5 years,
That's
and
incredible.
in those days, he was selling out everywhere. We're still friends to this day.
Yeah, he's big name, ago. Bobby. Yeah, I speak to Bobby. He's just recently got a talking Willie in the act called Senior Willie. Yeah, very funny little vent act he does now in his live shows. Yeah.
Talking Willie, I forgot to say, Robert, what you're playing at.
We've all got one of them, haven't we?
So, I don't know. He's amazing.
Oh, confusion.
See, I'm a great fan of Radio 4 comedy.
Yeah, brilliant. Love all that.
Listen to it. And, I said to Robert, look, I'll refer to him as Robbie. He calls me Michael. Robert, okay. Robert, I said, look, listen to those people. I said, I'm not saying we can't do that. Sorry, I haven't a clue, or Just a Minute, programs like that,
Yeah, two of my favourites.
So, and I said, we can't do that. Well, that's what's required at this time.
Yeah.
Well, they can't do what we do. I said, it doesn't matter. At the moment, it's what they do that they need, not what we do.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Sad.
So that's from what I can see of it, that's how certainly Channel 4.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these guys get, all these panel shows that they do and all that carry on. The people who run that are very young people who only know certain things. It's people only respond to what they know. And if you think what's been on telly in the last 5 to 10 years, it's
reality,
more of that than what we do.
Love Island. Would you go on Love Island? You'd make it funny.
Oh, Jesus, no. I'm sure I don't know if they get paid. I don't know. A lot of those shows, I don't know. It beggars belief, but it's cheap entertainment. It used to be, let me get this right, there's an adage now, if the public used to watch us on telly, we watch the public.
Yeah. Saying that Gogglebox is funny. We do like Gogglebox. It's quite funny.
See, I find that offensive. Who are these dreadful people?
Yeah.
Well, we should hear it. I'm sorry, I can't watch this nonsense.
If you put the scenario of you in Gogglebox watching TV, that may be even better, because you're funny.
I'm so critical now, believe me.
Well, they all are. Yeah, everyone on Gogglebox is, they're funny
but
because...
The difference is, you and I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We're not punters, are we?
No. We're watching punters watching other punters, aren't we? It's crazy.
Morecambe and Wise, I did a concert with Morecambe and Wise in Margate.
Wow.
Comedy concert. And there was no money. I thought, I've got to go and do this.
Yeah.
And so, just to digress, London management, who looked after all these people, Frankie Vaughan's son worked for London management.
Okay.
Gary Morecambe, Eric's son, worked for London management. I think it did that. They kept the fathers happy. So this concert, Winter Gardens, Margate. So you get there, Sunday concert, about 2 or 3 o'clock, So I get there. Then Ernie arrived, no Eric, about 3:30 time. And he took the call, the orchestra, the lighting, the sound, the cues, did it all. No Eric. And then 2 dressing rooms. They didn't share a dressing room. And then have you done the Winter Gardens, Margate?
Yes. Yeah, a couple of times.
Right next to each other in a corridor.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 1, number 2. Ernie was in number 2, Eric in number 1. So Eric arrived about 10 to 6. So when he came, straight to the room, they didn't speak at all, straight to the room. Ernie in his room. So the first half did that. Then, this is interesting, this. And the second half, had 5 minutes, overture beginners, so the band go out, sit down. Ernie comes out the room, and Johnny Welch is, Johnny, go. No Eric.
Really? Wow.
And then they started to play the music. It got to the point, the door opened, Eric came out, and they walked off together. It was amazing. I thought, he's going to miss this. And no, the door, he came out, and they walked, and the first time they spoke was on stage. Sensational. It was very funny. It came off, Eric in the room, Ernie in the room. And I thought, I didn't drive back to Manchester. I know I've got to see the second half. And it was exactly the same.
Was it?
And then Les Dawson told me, Les lived in Blackpool. Some story, he never bought a drink, Les. But I said, and he said, well, it's interesting that, Mike. He said, if you think about double acts, they spend more time with each other than with their wives.
Yeah, it's
He
true.
said, a lot of them, he said, the better ones don't have the social life with each other at all. I said, did they like each other?
Wow.
He said, it's hard to say. He said, but when they did the TV, they were locked in, and it was just the two of them.
Constantly,
right?
yeah.
But when Eric lived in Harpenden, I think, and the other fellow lived in Peterborough.
Yes.
They never got together socially, never, ever. Well, why should they? Why should they?
And that's strange.
But then the second house came, Ernie went out again, right, Johnny, go. Same thing again. Eric went in and, came out, they did it. And I think, I didn't do autographs, I left then, but that's what they did,
It worked though, didn't it? It was
It did.
whatever it is they were doing.
Spontaneous, a lot of it, and a lot of the time, the straight man is never as popular as the funny man.
No.
But I think the straight man is the one.
It's important to the act.
The clever one.
Yeah.
A good straight man, it controls things to a point.
Yeah, definitely. Like little and large. Eddie was fantastically talented, and Sid fed everything, and you need that straight man to make that double act what it was, and it's brilliant.
That's right. We cannon and ball. Bobby, even socially, Bobby makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The other day I watched him, we were doing it, and looking at the look of them, it looked quite recent, singing, that song, Cockles and Muffles, Alive, Alive, Oh.
All right.
She wheeled the wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, singing Cockles and Muffles, Alive, Alive, Oh. And Tommy's trying to sing this, and Bobby interrupted, and it was very, very, very funny. And I don't know what you and I will watch somebody, we won't laugh once, but I think it was funny that.
We do. We just say that. My wife says that. I tell her a joke. She says, "That's funny." I said, "No, laugh at me. Don't just."
No, because it's what we've steeped in it. We've seen that much, haven't we?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. But then, Bobby Ball, years ago, before they got famous, we used to stay in digs together in London before they got famous.
Right.
And with all due respect, I thought they were funnier then.
Yeah, they were like rock and roll comedy, weren't they? They were huge back then. That was really
massive. And
for a comedy duo.
I did a tour with them when they first became famous.
Yeah,
one of the big tours, massive tour, sold out everywhere.
Everyone's got their different ways of performing, haven't they? I've seen you perform, Mike, and you pace up and down the stage. Is that your delivery? Is that helps you deliver your comedy when you walk up and down?
I think two things. If you go back to those days, there's that many distractions in the room for people when you're on.
Yeah.
I.e., waiters, sight lines, noise at the bar, people talking. If you can work over that,
Yeah.
and cause a distraction yourself, i.e., he's there. You have to think a bit to watch what you're doing rather than somebody that just stands there. When I started, I thought that's better. That was easier, that.
Yeah, you're commanding attention, aren't you? The people are looking at you, they're following you.
Visually, yeah, exactly, very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
And even now, despite my mental health and physical health, I still do that, And the other week, Freddie Davis, Parrot Face,
Yes.
he came to see me or something.
Oh,
I just still do all that. I said, yeah, I do, yeah. Because he said, well, first off, he said, you're known for that. Yeah.
okay.
108 laughs in 12 minutes,
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but it's what, you come out and stand there, but you've got a prop, the hat.
Prop acts, yeah. Yeah.
You got a hat, the prop, that's the prop, and you use that. And I don't have any props. It's just, words. And it just does work, for some reason, and because it's never not worked. Now I've been down on my backside many times, obviously, but it works, and that you are known for that.
Also known for your moving with the times, when you're booked time after time to support names, and you're guaranteed to warm up this act, but it's because you're topical as well of the day. You're moving with the times.
I mean,
yeah.
When all the alternative boys came along, they were giving audiences lectures, as I saw it, and I thought, people don't want to pay 70 quid to be lectured to or sworn at.
Yeah, do you think it's important to actually dress right as well? Because the comedians wear their ripped jeans and t-shirts.
Another adage to that. You don't remember Dave Wolf, the comedian?
Yeah.
Dave's not very well right now, but nonetheless, he started this company called Comedy Golf.
Okay.
And he would come to your golf club and he'd say, right, 3 comedians, stick the poster up, won't cost you anything, you sell the tickets.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He created a nice business. He slaps a bit now because obviously the way things are. And I said I want to do one. He said, well, they're not really. Anyway, I go and all these in jeans and T-shirts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I go along and even in jeans I look smarter than they did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I put me on first. Oh, are you sure? Yeah, put me on first and rock the place. Then again, now I just do it and leave. I said, this young lad watched it. He said, I've never seen anything like that before. I said, I thought he's not being sarcastic. He said, no, he's not. No, he meant it. I said, really? So where do you normally work? The back room in a pub or those sort of things. Okay. When you and I started, I think it was required to dress a certain way, whereas places we worked in, whereas now it's not, for some reason, Nobody makes any money, by the way.
Some of the top comics are telling me they don't make any money there, and Jonglers has closed down, the comedy clubs are closing. You get the comedy store, but there's no money in it for anybody, and where do you go?
You could say it's a good training ground. I mean, because I remember one night we were doing one somewhere, and this kid came up from Cardiff, and he did 5 minutes. Okay. And I said to him, what's that about? Yeah. He said he just wants to break himself into it. I said, how much have you paid him? He said, 70 quid.
Wow.
So it will have cost him more than that in petrol.
Yeah.
Well, on the M5 and M6.
For 5 minutes.
And the young guy afterwards, I said, congratulations, that was very good, that. It wasn't funny, but it was there. The potential was there.
Yes.
And it's just, and they're not all young guys either. A guy called Bill Wooland is called, and he's a middle-aged man. He's from Liverpool.
Okay.
And all scousers think they're funnier than they are, do you know what I mean? I said, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Can you make a living out of it? So you do all right, yeah. And he's become a friend. He's a lovely man. He's a dear man. Mm-hmm. And but now even that work's drying up now. Because when I used to work for Mike Hughes, Liverpool, he did all the clubs in Liverpool, And there was Bobby Shack, Jackie Hamilton, Bert Cook, and one of the 4 of them. Who were big stars in Liverpool. Yeah. Who sold out working men's clubs. But they went to Liverpool or they went to Preston, nobody understood what they were talking about. So they were like local stars, and he was one of them. Okay. And I'd never met this guy. And he very, very quiet, he was drunk, So I thought, I've got to watch this. And he goes on, he had the place in fits, because when you... The accent thickens, and so Liverpool people, I only got half of what he said because of his accent, So when the riots were on, he said, I've got a leg of lamb under my arm. And the policeman said, what are you going to do with that? He said, cabbage. To this day, I've forgotten that. He's a very, very funny man.
Yeah.
Because the Grumble was going to do a play. There's a thing called Run for Your Wife.
Okay, yeah, I've seen. I know Bobby Davro done that down in Bournemouth, probably in
There
the
you go.
mid-90s. Yeah.
You know, all you need is 3 men and 2 women.
Yeah.
So me and the 2 Grumbleweeds were going to do it, and they've just pulled 2 women in. You know. So,
Yeah. Oh, it sounds brilliant. Sounds brilliant.
So James got permission to do it.
Okay.
Because you can't just put these things on, believe me.
No.
And they want 15% of the box office and so on. So we were going to do it. Me and Robin, James, and 2 ladies. So we let it be known we were going to do it. We had a couple of meetings at Robin's house.
Yeah.
And when they found out production company the pros were going to do it, they withdrew the permission.
Wow.
And I said, you serious? They showed me the email. Yeah. Well, because they weren't going to make any money out of it because it was only 140-seater theatre. It might not have sold out at all, you know. Then me and Robin were going to do the Sunshine Boys.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah,
I
that'd been good.
wanted to, and it was muted, you know. And then they looked into permission, they just said no chance. So, but, you know,
That's strange.
If you think about the comics who've become actors with no experience but made a go of it, you know, it's a strange one. But let you see, one of my heroes is Les Dawson.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, he was amazing, man. But it's funnier, if it's possible, he was funnier off.
Was he?
Well, we knew each other from way back. I remember he was doing pantomime in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I did a corporate in one of the hotels, and he turned up with Roger De Courcy.
No.
It was unbelievable. But he was such a funny man. And he said to me, you live in the country, don't you, Mike? I said, yeah, I do, Les. He said, you ever been squirrel groping? I said, pardon? Squirrel groping? How'd you do that? And he spent 10 minutes showing me how to grope a squirrel. In different ways. He grope this and that. And it was amazing.
Did he actually do it with a squirrel?
And he was peeing himself. And then I said, no, can you show me? He'd forgotten. Can you show me that again? What? Oh, no. But the reason we're telling you, so we're in this room and we're staying at the Polygon Hotel. Leslie's there, the Mayflower Theatre doing pantomime.
Yeah.
With John Nettles. And me and Robert are making this TV series at TVS. We're all staying in the same hotel. So one night we got back and Leslie, so we're all sat together in this room. So I said, let's have some champagne. He had a bottle of champagne. There's barely a glass each in it, you know. So 6 bottles later, I go to leave, and the gentleman said to me, there's 5 bottles of champagne to pay for. I said, pal. I said,
Wow.
Mr. Dawson. He said, he just pays for the first one. I said, really? I said, well, I'm going now. I said, Mr. Davro is our host, give him the bill. Well, he went mental.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Also, and that was what Les used to do.
Yeah, he had you and the squirrel by the bollocks then, didn't he, really?
Well, it was unbelievable. I mean, and he was, you know, his characterisations, you know, he said he'd do a monologue about Irvine Marifat and Bogart Sopwith. There were 2 names he just dreamt up, and I've got all his writings as well.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. And also, there's a level, you know, it's all levels, this. A lot of comedians who will never make it, because they're not with the right office, or they're not bothered, or...
Yeah, you don't have the right manager.
Very funny people.
Yeah.
Now, then this morning, waiting to hear from you, it's a piece of Norman Collier.
Oh, yes.
On
Yes,
here.
then.
Well, I did Summertime Special with him. I had to follow him.
So
Excuse
funny.
me.
Yeah.
Well, that was nerve-wracking to a point. I mean, he came in the afternoon. When you do them tellers, they want to every word you're going to say.
Yeah.
And you know, 3,000 seater, there's nobody in it, just an orchestra in the corner, 34-piece orchestra.
Yeah.
So Norman goes out to do it, and you're doing your bit, and there's nothing at all. Nobody, cameramen don't laugh. And there's just silence, and you're doing your stuff to nobody. So Norman comes out, you know, the orchestra in fits, the cameramans are wobbling because you're making them laugh. You know, and the trumpet players can't blow notes because Norman's making them laugh as well. I don't think anyway, then come the night, he did it, and it didn't go all that well.
Oh.
And I had to follow him, which was easy, to be honest with you, but nonetheless, you know. And all these different levels, you know, levels of comedy, really.
Yeah.
They're all different, you know, but it's unbelievable, really is the way. But a lot of these modern guys, and that's not said because I'm an older performer. I mean, it's just the Welsh guy. Is it Rod Gilbert?
Yes, yeah.
Him.
Rod.
I think he's very funny.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Have you seen anything he does with the suitcase handle?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
That was
We got that was the handle. Yeah.
I think that's what made him quite big. Actually, that went all over the internet.
But he's constant. Every time I see him, it's funny. And Tom Allen, do you know who that is?
Yes.
The guy, they have him on the Bake Off, don't they?
Yeah, he's the host on it, isn't he now?
Very, very funny man.
He's brilliant. Well, you are a very, very funny man, Mike. It's brilliant. You've had such a great career, and it's not over yet. You're still going. You just turn up and you do it and you leave. And we're looking forward to the book. Really looking forward to the book.
So I've really enjoyed this. It's been lovely. You know?
Thanks so much, mate. I love reminiscing. I like hearing the stories. And
oh, well, I hope so. And let me know when you've done it, because my son is... See, this is another thing about generations. My son's now 23, Michael Jr.
Okay.
And I showed him Les Dawson when he was about 12, and he wet himself. Like my son, like Lee Evans and people like that. Well, I'm not. And I mean, Lee Evans' father was far funnier than he ever was, Dave Evans.
Yeah, I love Dave. I work with Dave quite a lot.
You knew, and I forget how far back you go, really. Good man. Well, it's really lovely to speak to you.
Ice and Teeth. Thanks to Mike Lancaster. He's been there and done it, and it's great to hear the backstage gossip and the details about touring with the stars. I really hope that there are younger upcoming comics out there listening to this, that they can take lessons from these artists that I'm talking to. There's so many tips out there you can make note of, and remember that when you're in that situation they're talking about, it may get you out of a sticky situation, whether it's in an arena or a social club, whether it's your own show or supporting somebody else. I've learnt something different from every podcast chat so far, and trust me, the next few seasons will not disappoint. Mike commented on one of my very favourite comedians, Lee Evans, and he's right that Dave Evans, Lee's father, was very, very funny. I adore Dave, yet I also adore Lee. But that's the beauty of comedy. Everyone's taste is different, and that's why we all have our own different audiences and admirers. That's what makes us individual. If you are enjoying Eyes and Teeth, the only way it can grow is if you share it online or to your friends on the phone. Download it and subscribe with a click to this podcast, and don't forget to review it. That really helps. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals from Nina, Lola and Larissa Hewlett, and thanks to Rich T for his commendable comments. Thanks as always to the brilliant Kevin Dean, who produced and performs the Eyes and Teeth jingle and theme music. This week's quote comes from Mike's favourite comedian, Les Dawson. In awe, I watched the waxing moon ride across the zenith of the heavens, like an amber chariot towards the ebony void of infinite space, wherein the tethered belts of Jupiter and Mars hang, forever festooned in their orbital majesty. And as I looked at all this, I thought, I must put a roof on this toilet. Join me next time when I'll be talking to the incredibly talented Alan Stewart.